Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Ayub bin Muhammad Roslan. I'm from class NSR 2435S2A. My metric number is 20209835669 and my student code is S07. In this video, I would like to present my research project with the title of Physical Fitness Profiling among selected athletes to be participating in the 20th Asian University Games. Without further ado, let's start with the background of the study. Elliott et al. 1989 has stated that the performance of athletes at different levels can be compared by using a normative database of physical fitness components. Groppel and Rotard 1992 has stated that physiologic profiling may be used to measure a person's fitness level. Perez Gomez et al. 2008, Maldonado Martin et al. 2004, Curriton et al. 1986, and Sparling and Curriton 1983. These scholars have stated that sport performance is mainly influenced by a person's gender, which mostly due to genetic and hormonal variances in traits. While Thibault et al. 2010 have stated that the studies on gender and athletic performance have been conducted extensively. Moving on to the statement of the problem. To our knowledge, there is a scarcity of available data. There have been found only one study that has been conducted towards Asian University Games athletes. This research only assessed the cardiovascular performance, neglecting muscle endurance, muscle strength, and the other fitness components. In this slide, we are going to see the research objectives, which is the first one is to determine the most appropriate and practical fitness test that can be used in assessing the fitness level of Asian University Games athletes. Moreover, to assess the current fitness level of the athletes and to provide further recommendations in improving their fitness level. Next, we are going to see the research hypothesis. For the null hypothesis, there is no statistically significant relationship between the gender and fitness performance among the athletes, while the alternate hypothesis, there is a statistically significant relationship between the gender and fitness performance among the athletes. This slide shows the significance of the study. Let us continue with the literature review. For the importance of physical fitness, Parnabas Mahmud and Parnabas 2013 said that exercise is very important for adults, and those who exercise will see significant improvements in their health. Via the creation of hormones, it will aid in the control of moods, and it will also help in the improvement of overall lung function, as well as general feeling of well-being. For the gender, it has the greatest impact on sports performance because of hormonal and genetic variants in any given individuals. The same scholars, Parnabas Mahmud and Parnabas 2013, said that a variety of factors influence athletes' ability to perform at their best. According to findings of a study, male and female athletes perform differently while undergoing a vertical jump performance test by Wion et al. 2006. Let's continue with the methodology. For research design, we are going to use experimental approach. The subjects are going to be the selected athletes to be participating in the 20th Asian University Games. The total number of athletes are 149, which consists of 101 males and also 48 females. We have segregated the athletes according to their own sport. Each athlete will be fully informed about the experimental protocol and also the possible risks before giving out consent form for them to fill. There are a total number of 5 tests that will be conducted, which is sit and reach test, maximum push-ups in 1 minute, vertical jump test, back and leg test, and also yo-yo endurance test. Each of the tests has its own objective. For the sit and reach test, it is to assess the flexibility of the athletes. For the maximum push-ups in 1 minute, it is to measure muscular endurance of the upper body muscles. For the vertical jump test, it is to measure lower body strength or power. For the back and leg test, it is to measure the maximum isometric strength of the back and the leg muscle. And last but not least, the yo-yo endurance test. It is to analyze maximal aerobic endurance capacity of the athletes. Let's see the procedure of each of the tests. This is the procedure of sit and reach test. This is for the maximum push-ups in 1 minute. This is for the vertical jump test. This is for the back and leg test. The last one is for the yo-yo endurance test. For the parameters, these are the list of measured parameters for each of the tests. For samplings, it has two criteria, which is inclusion criteria and exclusion criteria. For the inclusion criteria, only those who are selected to be participating in the 20th Asian University Games are being included in this study, while the exclusion criteria, for those who are not selected to be participating in the 20th Asian University Games, are being not included in this study. For this slide, it highlights the instrumentations of this research. For data collection procedure, first, we seek for ethical approval from the ethical committee. Then, we gather the participants and brief all of them about the experimental protocol and possible risks. Soon after, we're giving out the consent form for them to fill out. And soon after the test or experimental have done, observe the result and compute the data. There are several number of tests that have been done for the data analysis. For the first one, we have used independent sample t-test to determine whether the average of the two genders differ significantly. So the second one is one-way ANOVA test. It is to determine whether there is statistically significant relationship between the type of sport and fitness performance among the athlete, because there are more than 2 sports categories. And the last one is chi-square test. It is for the purpose of determining whether there was a relationship between gender and sports. All of the data analysis have been done by using IBM SPSS version 26, which is Statistical Package for Social Science. Without wasting our time, let us see the results of the physical fitness profiling among the athletes. Table 1 shows the data distribution of the athletes by gender and sports they participated. The summary indicates that most of the participants were male at 68.5% and 31.5% female. On the other hand, most of the students participating in the games are playing football, 29.5%, and followed by the other sports. Next, Table 2 shows the data distribution of the performance of each test based on gender. From the data tabulated in the table, it is evident that the performance of the females is consistently lower than that of the male athletes. Next, we proceed with Table 3. It shows the data distribution of the performance difference of each test between gender. The test results indicate several significant factors. First, the equality of variance was assumed across gender, except for the maximum push-ups. The equality of variance assumptions is thus accounted for when discussing the test findings for the mean difference. The results indicate that there is no significant difference in average sit and reach between male and female. On the other hand, all the other performance measurements were statistically different between male and female athletes. The test indicates that vertical jump, back and leg test, maximum push-ups, and yo-yo endurance test all have the p-value of lower than 0.01. Thus, it can be concluded that the average performance between male and female athletes differs significantly except for the seed and reach. Also, the null hypothesis is rejected if the test is converted to bidirectional and a test done to determine whether the female performance is lower than the male athletes, thus deducing the males have higher performance except for the seed and reach. For the last result of the experiment, Table 4 shows the data distribution of testing, whether the type of sport is associated with gender. This last analysis was carried out to determine whether there was a relationship between gender and sports, and the results are tabulated. The test indicates evidence against the null hypothesis, which the value of degree of freedom is 6, the chi-square is 69.039, and the p-value is lower than 0.01. Thus, it is concluded that the sport an athlete plays is dependent on their gender. Last but not least, discussion. The results pointed to some interesting findings in regard to the research objectives. In Table 2, the descriptive analysis indicates that the female performance is relatively low in all the performance measurements. It was established that the seed and reach was not significantly different between the male and female. This indicates that the average seed and reach height obtained between the male and female athletes is not significantly different. The results further indicate that vertical jump was significantly different between the male and female athletes. On applying the one-tail test, a conclusion is reached that the male athletes have a higher vertical jump than females. Lawson et al. 2022 found a comparable vertical jump power between sexes, which was more evident in different age groups. Moreover, the analysis pointed out that the back and leg test was also significantly different among male and female athletes. The difference is significant, and the conclusion drawn is that the male's performance is higher as compared to the female's performance. Markovic et al. 2018 carried out a multi-dimensional gender-based model in assessing the isometric muscle force. This disparity between the males and females was evident. The last bit of the gender-based analysis on performance indicates that the yo-yo endurance test was significant. Particularly, the males tend to have higher maximal aerobic endurance fitness, more than their counterparts females. Nonetheless, scholars such as Ms. Wan et al. 2020 have established a non-significant difference in fitness components for the age gender-based, except for the explosive power for some age groups. Lastly, the findings indicate that the performance of male athletes is higher than that of their counterpart female athletes. The performance seems to differ from sport to sport. The outcomes are important since they could help coaches and training personnel improve athletes' performance among the females and sports that had low performance. For the last part of this video presentation, these are the list of references that I have used in the making of this study. Thank you.